students. Welcome to Priyanka's lectures. Today we will learn about the process of curriculum development. But what is the meaning of the word process? Process means steps that need to be followed for developing a whole curriculum. These are the steps of developing a whole curriculum. Step 1 is assessment of educational needs. Step 2 is formulation of objectives. Step 3 is selection of content. Step 4 is organization of content. Now step 3 and step 4 can be combined into one step, but for the ease of understanding I have separated it into two steps. Step 5 is selection and organization of learning experiences, and the last is evaluation. It is important to assess the needs of the students for whom we are developing the curriculum. It helps in determining what the curriculum should be for a particular population at a particular period of time. First, we assess the felt needs. These are the needs which are assessed through field studies. In a field study, we go to the field, that is the target students, and study the areas where education is required. Along with the educational needs, the background information about the students is also determined. After assessing the felt needs, the observed needs are assessed. Observed needs are those needs which are assessed from secondary sources, that is Education Commission reports, government policies like National Policy on Education 1986, etc. After assessing the felt needs and the observed needs, we assess the real needs. Real needs are a list of priority areas for which the curriculum has to be developed. The priority areas are determined after considering what the education system can do to achieve the needs of the students. Felt needs are related to observed needs, and felt needs and observed needs together result into real needs. Step 2, formulation of objectives. Here, the needs which were assessed in the first step are transformed into aims and objectives. There are certain principles of formulating the objectives which should be kept in mind while developing the curriculum. The first principle is the principle of matching. According to this principle, the objective should be related to the broad goals of education. The attainment of the objectives of the curriculum should result in achievement of the overall goals of education. It means that the objective of the curriculum should match with the goals of the education. The second principle is the principle of worth. According to this principle, the attainment of the objectives should have some value in the life of the students. The objectives should be useful and relevant to the needs of the students. The third principle is wording. According to this principle, the objectives should be worded in such a manner that it's easy for the students to understand what they will learn from the curriculum. The fourth principle is appropriateness. According to this principle, the objective should be suitable for fulfilling the needs of the students. The fifth principle is principle of logical grouping. According to this principle, the objective should be grouped into three domains, namely the cognitive domain, affective domain, and psychomotor domain. If you are not aware of these three domains, watch my video on Bloom's taxonomy. The link to the video is given in the description section below the video. The last principle is the principle of revision. According to this principle, the objective should be revised and modified according to the changing needs of the society and the students. Now here I have made a sentence so that you can memorize all these principles. You have to just memorize this one sentence. Revise the matching of a worthy word to an appropriate and logical group. From the word revise, you can recall the principle of revision. From the word matching, you can recall the principle of matching. From worthy, the principle of worth. From word, wording, appropriate, appropriateness, and from logical group, the principle of logical grouping. So this is how you can memorize all the principles of formulating the objectives. You have to just memorize this single sentence. Repeat the sentence 5 times or more than 5 times, and you will be able to memorize this sentence. And with this single sentence, you will be able to recall all the 5 principles. Selection of content, which means selection of subject matter of the curriculum. The subject matter includes facts, concepts, principles, and theories. It should increase the knowledge of the students. This is the first principle of selecting the content. Self-sufficiency. According to this principle, the content should help the students in becoming self-reliant and self-sufficient. Being self-sufficient means that one can satisfy his basic needs like food, clothing, and shelter without any outside help. The second principle is significance. According to this principle, the content selected for the students should be important in increasing the knowledge of the students and in developing the learning abilities in the students. The third principle is validity. The content should be in accordance to the goals and objectives of the curriculum. It should be useful in the day-to-day life of the students. The fourth principle is interest. The content should be according to the aptitude and interest of the students. The content should develop the intellectual skills of the students. The fifth principle is utility. Utility means usefulness. The content should be useful in the overall development of the students. It should be useful in getting a job. There are many other possible ways in which the content can be useful to the students. The sixth principle is learnability. The content of the curriculum should be selected according to the age and intellectual abilities of the students. For example, the content which is taught to a 9th class student can't be taught to a 1st class student. It is beyond the learning capabilities of the 1st class student. The last principle is feasibility. The word feasibility means the extent to which a thing can be easily and conveniently done. Here, feasibility means that the content should be selected keeping in mind the resources available to the students, the costs involved in implementing the curriculum, etc. Again, I have made a sentence for you to easily memorize all these principles. The sentence is a valid sign-in of a self-learner in a feasible and useful environment. From valid, validity, sign, significance, in, interest, self, self-sufficiency, learner, learnability, feasible, feasibility, and from useful you can recall the word utility. This is how you can easily memorize all the principles. You have to just remember this single sentence. Next step is organizing the content. The content should be organized in a logical and systematic way. While organizing the content, 3 principles should be kept in mind. First is sequencing. The content should be arranged in a proper sequence. For example, from known to unknown, from simple to complex, from concrete to abstract, etc. This means that the content which is simple to understand should be placed first in the curriculum, and after that the complex topics should be placed in the curriculum. The next principle is continuity. According to this principle, the new content should be related to the previous content that the students have already learned. The disjointed content doesn't lead to attainment of the objectives. The last is integration. To integrate means to combine one thing with another to form a whole. The content should be organized in such a manner that one subject can be related to another. For example, maths and science can be integrated together. And another example could be of social studies, which is a single subject consisting of three subjects: history, civics, and geography. The next step is selecting and organizing the learning experiences. The learning experiences include various teaching methods like lecture, discussion, demonstration, etc., and learning activities like conducting experiment, working on assignments, participating in discussions, etc. There are few questions that should be considered before selecting the learning experiences. Will the learning experience help in achieving the aims and objectives of the curriculum? Will the students be able to apply the knowledge gained from the learning experiences to real life situations? Are there enough resources, time, expertise, etc. to give the learning experiences? Are the learning experiences helpful in developing thinking skills and reasoning power among the students? Are learning experiences helpful in making the students understand their existence as individuals and as the members of the society? Are the learning experiences helpful in making students open to the new experiences and tolerant towards diversity? Are the learning experiences according to the needs and interests of the students? Do the learning experiences cater to the cognitive, affective, and psychomotor domains of the learning process? These questions are helpful in selecting appropriate learning experiences for achieving the objectives of the curriculum. The last step is to evaluate the curriculum. While evaluating the curriculum, it is determined whether the objectives of the curriculum have been achieved or not. The effectiveness of a curriculum is determined by the extent to which the curriculum is able to achieve its objectives. Evaluation is both quantitative and qualitative. Quantitative means that evaluation can be measured in terms of numbers, and qualitative means that evaluation can be measured in terms of the quality of the curriculum. There are two types of evaluation. One is student evaluation and the other is curriculum evaluation. Student evaluation is related to assessment of the changes in the student's behavior. These changes can be assessed through oral or written tests, discussions, etc. Curriculum evaluation refers to evaluation of different components of curriculum, that is objectives, content, methods and evaluation procedures to determine whether the curriculum fulfills the educational needs of the students or not. Each component can't be evaluated separately because every component is related to another component. Here you can see that the objectives, content, methods and evaluation all are interrelated and interdependent on each other. The evaluation of curriculum is important to improve the curriculum, but a curriculum is rarely evaluated because the results of evaluation are ignored and there is a reluctance in accepting a new curriculum. But we should evaluate the curriculum to improve the learning experiences and the objectives of the curriculum. If you If you want me to create a video on any topic of B.Ed or M.Ed, please mention it in the comment section. I will upload a video for you. If you like my video, then please like, share and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.